Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So my only suggestion, Ani's going to take over and he's going to run this on maximum accountability and give you a demonstration of how the system is going to work. I would just ask that you would mute your mics until, and then if you need to unmute, do that so that we don't get the feedback. And Ani has spent a lot of time. Several of us have spent a lot of time on this, especially Ani, and we're excited to roll this out finally. And this is a demo of the data, and soon you'll be getting your quarterly goals, which you will input into the system. But Ani, you have the floor.
Thank you, Bill. So good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the second edition of the Maximum Accountability demo. From the last time, we have made a bunch of changes to the system. So as you can see, we made a lot of changes to the interface of the system. So the way it looks, the images, and of course, we have added a lot of functionalities which you'll get to see now. So just to refresh your mind, Maximum Accountability is a performance management tool which is owned by Quantum Strategies. And the unique part of the system, the distinctive or unique USP system is that unlike the traditional performance management system, which is one-on-one, which is top to bottom approach where the supervisor gives feedback to the employee. The employee itself is responsible for managing their performance. So when I say managing their performance, it is their responsibility to make sure that they put in their project progress. They also make sure that they get the relevant feedback from their supervisors, right? So just to reiterate, employees are given the opportunity and are given the accountability to record their own performance, at the same time also ask feedback from their supervisors. Now with great power comes great responsibility, right? So the whole idea is one of the main values of the system is we are a code of ethics. So when somebody puts in their progress, it is very important that they're realistic with their progress. They are honest with their recordings, because the whole idea is to give a lot of autonomy to the employee and not micromanage everything that they do. With that, I'm going to give you a quick demo of most of the functionalities. I mean, we have way too many functionalities on the system right now, but I'll cover as much as possible, at least the ones which we use on a weekly basis. So this is the login page for the system. So QMA stands for Quantum Maximum Accountability. And all of us have a login username, which is our Quantum email ID. So I'm going to log in as Bill, just to give you guys a demo. And so we've created two different systems. One, of course, is to pilot our demo, so to our employees in the organization. So that's the system that I'm going to use. And we have one more right here, which looks very similar. This is the system which is designed to present to our clients. When there's a lot of dummy data inside this system, so when we go to our clients, it'll be easier for us to show most of the functionalities in here. So this is the system we'll be using to pilot to our employees. So this is the login. So everybody's email is the username, and 123456 is the password. I'm going to send all the details to you right after this call on an email. So you don't have to note down anything. I'll make sure that I send you all the details. So 123456, we log in. Great. So this is the dashboard. This is our front page. This gives you a high-level information of all the goals, all the weekly accountability, all the details of employees in the organization. Now, since I've logged in as Bill, Bill obviously is the managing director of the organization, and he's on top of the hierarchy. So he'll have access to everybody's information, everybody's goals, everybody's accountability. So in this system, you'll get to see everybody's details in here, right? Now, from an individual standpoint, when you guys get your goals, your quarterly goals, the first thing that you're going to go in is on this tab, which is called goals, right? Your goals are going to be your project goals that are given to you. Basically, the expectations that supervisors, the expectations that you have set for yourself, your personal goals. At the same time, the expectations that your supervisors have given after a discussion. So once you've discussed your projects for your quarterly meeting, you'll come into the goals tab and click on add goals, right? So I'm going to add a quick goal. I'm going to add, let's say, HRIS system 2. I'll just say HRIS system 2, and I'll say, let's say I say serve, right? Now this is very important. Now when you choose the start date, the project, make sure that you start it on a Monday. Now I say Monday, and you can choose even Saturday or Sunday if you want to, but it's better to choose a weekday because it'll be easier for the system to track weekly accountabilities starting Monday or Tuesday. So I think as a best practice, I would suggest you choose a Monday. So I'll say October 5th, and let's say it's a 4-week project, right? So that's October 5th to 4, Friday. So that's 4 weeks. This is a 4-week project, and most, maximum accountability usually has projects that would stretch from 4 weeks to 4 months to 6 months. So let's choose a project that's 6 weeks. Choosing a 6-week project. Now you can choose the name of your manager here, the supervisor who you report to. So I'm going to choose, we have a bunch of test data here. So I'm just going to choose one of them. I'm just going to choose Johnny here, right? And then I'm going to choose the name of the employee. So I'm just going to say Dolly, right? So just to go back, you put the name of the goal, you put the name of the client you're working for. If it's Quantum Strategies, if you're working for a project which is an internal project, you can also put Quantum if you want, right? And you put the duration of the project here. You put the name. You can put multiple managers here, right? Let's say you have a cross-functional project. For example, I remember we worked on an exit survey from Zoe and I. So in that case, we had our supervisors for that project were Nancy and Kathy. So in that situation, I would have put Kathy and Nancy here, and then I would put my name, or if Zoe was in, she would put her name here, right? So you go there and then you click submit, right? So it says success project added. So when you click on goals again, when you look here, the last project that's recorded is HRIS, the name of the client, the start date and the end date, the supervisor whose system you've logged into, and it says approved, right? So since this is super admin access, it's not approved yet. When you guys create it, it'll still say not approved. So the supervisor has to go and review and then approve it. Now the next step in the process is, so once you create a project, the next functionality we have in the system is you can break down each project. So for example, in this case, this is a 6-week project, right? So each week you can break down the project. And to do that, you click on the green button here, which is like an eye logo, you click on that. And then you have the details of the project, right? So you have project created by Bill, then you have the name of the manager, you have the employee name. And then you see this is called tactics. This is the weekly breakdown of the project. So when you click plus here, you can add tactics. So you'll say, let's say my first week, I'm going to work on need assessment. Understanding the gaps in the organization is my first week. The second, let's say I want to do, let's say I do system design. I'm going to do testing. That's going to be week 3. And let's say I just do a 4th one, which is feedback, right? So I'm going to say 4 weeks done. So this is the weekly breakup of the goal. In this case, it's a 6-week project, so I should actually ideally add 2 more, right? So I should say feedback 2, and I'm going to put 1 more. Just going to say feedback 6. All right. So once you've broken down your project by the week, you click submit, and it says success task added. So here you can see your weekly projects for the next 6 weeks. And below, when you scroll down, you also have a manager rating. We'll come back to this after some time. So again, you create the goal, you go to goals, you click add goal, you submit the goal, and then you click on the green button and you break down each of the goal on a weekly basis. I'm going to quickly stop here and see if anybody has any questions so far. All right, seems like everybody's got it. So once you created the goal, the next step is on a weekly basis, you have to go in and provide your project progress. And how do you do that? You go back to the dashboard and you click weekly accountability, right? So this is where you come in on a weekly basis and add your project process report. So when you click add weekly rating, you click the name of the goal. So it'll list all the goals that you've added. So in my case, HRIS System 2 is the name of my project, and then I'm going to choose the week. So week 1, and then I'm going to give a rating for myself. Let's say I feel I've done a 4-star rating, and this is the overall completion for the week. All right, this is not the weekly, but this is the overall. So let's say I've done 25%. I say completed. Partially completed week 1 goals, was busy with new Grange project. All right, so this description provides you know, a quick note to the manager or the supervisor to tell them, you know, why you know, in case you've completed, you can of course write in a note and say, you can also say, in another statement, you can say, have completed 3 weeks worth of work, will set new goals for next week, right? In case you've completed, you've had time, you've done overtime, you've got 3 weeks worth of work done, you can also put a quick note in so the supervisor, you know, is aware that you've done extra work for the week. Or in this case, you were busy, so you've partially done it, you can also give that note there. So once you've done that, you come down, and this is the breakup of each of the weeks. So it's broken down here. So you can give percentage completion of each of these goals. So for example, with need assessment, I've done 25% of them. I'm just going to say 25 for this week. I've not done anything for system design, testing, nothing, feedback, nothing. So I can just put 0 everything. Or in case, let's say you've done 50% worth of need assessment, then you also had some time to work on the system design with, you know, your teammates. You can also put 10% here and then 0 for the rest. So this is basically to give the completion percentage for each of the weeks, right? So once you've added this, you click submit. And you have to do this on a weekly basis, right? This is very important. This is the whole, the core of this project, the core of the system is that you come here on a weekly basis and add this rating. So the manager does not have to reach out to you on a weekly basis or a daily basis to check, hey, you know, how far have you come with the project, or have you reached out to this person? Have you done this or done that? So we're trying to eliminate micromanagement, and we're trying to give autonomy, like I mentioned before. So once you've created this, it says success weekly rating added. So when you come down, you see this, it says Bill has done 25% of a project. Then you get details of the entire system. So 50% of this. So you have, and you know, my screen, since I've shared my screen, it's kind of cramped here, but you can also see the note that you put into the manager, right? Now, when the manager, the supervisor logs in, they can directly, instead of, you know, they don't even have to go to the goals or the weekly, they only have to click here. They can directly, we have 3 different insights here. So they can directly see on which date, for example, if I put my cursor here, it is the 30th, it says I've put in 1 project, already says it. So if I just move my cursor, my mouse cursor here, it says I've completed 1 goal on the 30th of September. So if you have multiple goals here, you can just move around your cursor and know how many people have added goals. So it's easier for you to just, when you click on the goal section, it's easier to understand how many people have added goals on a daily or a weekly basis, right? I'm going back to the dashboard. And then of course you have the goal completion pie chart, which says how many people are on track and off track. We'll come to this later. And then of course we also have the weekly rating bar graph, which gives you how many people have put in ratings on different dates. So right now we have this is an algorithm which needs at least 3 weeks worth of weekly data. So we'll have to make 3 different. I put in a bunch of dummy data, so that's the reason we have this data. But once I put 2 more weeks worth of weekly accountability to come up here as well. And the last one is the weekly accountability, which I just added. It's another graph where you can come in and know how many people have put in weekly ratings here. I know there's a lot of information, so it can be confusing. So simple, I'm going to keep it simple. Step number 1, put in your goals. Step number 2, break down the goals, clicking the green button. Step number 3, go to the dashboard and click weekly accountability on a weekly basis. Come in and put your weekly ratings. All right, just a 3-step process. It's that simple. Once you start using the system, you're going to get comfortable and you won't have any issues. I mean, we've designed such a way it's user friendly. Even though it has a lot of functionalities, it's extremely user friendly and very straightforward, right? And the last one, the last thing I want to show is from a supervisor or manager standpoint. So where you need to come in and look at what the project progress is this tab called reports. So you can click on the name of the employee, and in this case, it's Johnny Barrett. So there are 2 people in this case. You know what? I'm going to log into this one so it's easier to understand. This is our quantum, the one that you guys are going to use. Right, so in this case, since I'm logged into Bill's account, everybody is in here. This is called the hierarchy functionality. So you can drill down and basically know the progress of each employee in the organization. So how it works, for example, right now, Nancy and Kathy report into Bill. So if I go to Nancy's and click submit, all of Nancy's goals, ratings, manager rating, everything will come in here. And then the ones who report to Nancy, which is, I mean, in this case, and all the details here are the ones which are coming up here are provided by Bill. So in case you feel that we've not put in the structure, reach out to me and I'll get that changed. So these are all the reportees who report to Nancy. That's Katie, Karen, Ronnie. And let's say Nancy wants to see the progress of somebody who reports into Ronnie. So you go back to the drop down. Now you see there are only 3 people. So I click on Ronnie. I click submit. Now only people who report into Ronnie come up here, which is Joe. And I don't think we have. Yeah, we don't have anybody reporting to Joe. And you want to go back in this hierarchy. You click back button here, the green back button. It goes back to the first point. So you know, in this case, let's say I click on. Amy, no, I was Mike. Sorry, yeah, I was looking for Mike. So we put in John here. So John. So this is where you come in and look at the goals, ratings, manager ratings from a high level, right? And you also, let's say there are about, let's say 2 months down the line, there are about 50 or 60 weekly and goals entries. You want to download in an Excel or a CSV file. These are the options. You can also print it. So let's say you want to print everybody's weekly ratings or goals, or you want to specifically choose an employee. In this case, let's say John. So I've clicked in, let's say there are about 10 different goals here. You can also download in an Excel. You can also copy them and directly paste it on a Word document if you want. So you have 4 different options there as well, right? Now, that is done. The other functionality we have is journals. So journals are used, you know, there are a bunch of journal options which supervisors can send to their reportees. So you go in and click add journal. So I've just put in 3 at the moment. So let's say Bill wants to give me some feedback on a project, right? So he clicks Ani, then he clicks, I'm gonna go to the, I don't know, mess up our internal system. So I'm just gonna go and use the other dummy system. So I'm just going to choose, let's say this Bill, Johnny is the one who is the recipient, and there are three different. Let's say Bill wants to give him a feedback on a project, so he clicks feedback form, and let's say he wants to give feedback about sales for September, and then he makes it visible to the recipient, and then he says he breaks it down. He wants to give a title, so it says sales report 2020. Thanks for meeting your goals. Right, so it's this, and this is a hypothetical. So Bill wants to give, he wants him to focus on clients in New York and New Jersey. So he gives them a feedback form. So this is the journal option. We also plan to put in a bunch of other journal options. So, but right now we have three, which is if the manager wants to do a weekly check-in, wants to give a weekly feedback, they can click weekly. If they want to give a development plan, let's say, you know, they were not happy, or they feel that they didn't meet the expectations as set before, they can click on a development plan, and then of course give break it down and put a development plan here. Or lastly, use the feedback form to give any feedback for any project they've worked on. And once you click submit here, when you log in as Jared, it'll come up in the journal section. It'll say Bill has given you a feedback form or a development plan. And again, they have the functionality to print and extract that to an Excel file. Now, does anybody have any questions? I think we're coming to the last part of the demo. So anybody have any questions so far? All right. The last part is what I would suggest is, once we get done with the call, there are about 4 people who don't have access to the system right now, and we're in by I think another hour. You should, Brian, Tyler, Alicia, and Nick. The 4 of you, I haven't created your logins yet, but in the next 30 minutes, once the call is done, your logins will be live as well. But to everybody who's on the call, what I suggest is spend the next 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, Bill, please feel free to chime in here. Have a conversation with your supervisors, or supervisors, you can take the initiative, or you can take the responsibility of having a conversation with your reportees, discuss the quarterly projects for the coming quarter or the current quarter if you want to, and then of course set expectations and tell them, and make sure that all the goals are put in, you know, in the system. It's easier to track the projects from here. You of course, it's also easier for documentation, for, you know, an annual performance review, for succession planning, for promotions in the future. So as much as this helps all of us to document our performance, it also helps us in our, you know, in various individual and organizational goals, which is promotion, meeting tight deadlines. So this is very crucial. And of course, Bill, would you like to add something to what I've said?
Yeah, so yes, thanks, Ani. I appreciate that. I guess I would really like to hear Katie's feedback later on today, you know, not right now, but on the functionality that does like the journaling and the capabilities for the normal performance management. So as this is a replacement for what we're using currently within our clients that is offered by Paylocity. And then
okay.
The second thing is, I would, Ani, can you show, I know you went into, like, so let's say Nancy has 4 reports and her goals are set up. This is designed that, you know, once Nancy has, we divide up our goals to meet her goals, and I give Nancy her goals for the quarter, that she's going to delegate them to the people below her, so that they'll have goals that if they make their goals and Nancy makes her goals, that whole, you know, cascading effect will make it. Is there a way that Nancy can see the like what her people are doing, so that like when I'm looking at Nancy's goals, that it all comes together, that all the people form up together. And then Nancy can make sure her people are on track, that it's making her on track. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, can you show how that works?
Yeah. So once you log in, you're on the dashboard menu. On the left side, there's an option called report, right? You click on report, and in Nancy's login, I'm just going to login. So like that. These are the 3 people who reported to Nancy. So everybody who reports to Nancy will have all their goals and weekly accountability is going to be here. She can directly see that here. And if she wants to cascade and see what each of these people are doing, so she clicks on one of them. Let's say she clicks Katie, and then Katie has all the goals that Katie has comes up here. And let's say Nancy wants to see what Taylor's up to or what Taylor's working on. She clicks on Taylor and she clicks submit, and then it cascades into Taylor's weekly projects and goals.
So if I just to make sure this is the way it's set up, so if I want to click on Nancy and her whole team, does that all cascade up to Nancy's goals from them, so I could see her entire team? Like, so I should be able to, like, part of Nancy's goals are the pieces of her team's goals. So when I click on Nancy, I should be able to see she's on track, all her people combined.
Exactly. So once you click Nancy here, everybody who reports into Nancy, like in the organizational hierarchy, will be here. Anyone below Nancy, everybody's goals and weekly accountability should come up here. And then, of course, you want to break that down, like I mentioned before. You go into each of them, and then it keeps cascading further.
Okay, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's not a quick way for me to illustrate, or is there a quick way for me to click on that it shows up, like, we'll call it like, that says, hey, Nancy's entire team is 90% on track or 80% on track. Is there like,
come up.
I got to go down to each person to do that? Is there a way where that all boils up together and comes together?
So we have the function. So you'll have to go to goals, and then you'll have to look at each of them. But to answer your question, so once you click on Nancy, you have access to their goals and ratings here, right? So let's say there were 10 goals and there are about 10 ratings here, and you have access, you have everybody's information here. You go back to the dashboard, and you push your cursor on each of the dates, then you have a quick way to look at everybody's goals. You come down, you also have the bar graph, which also gives you information on their weekly accountability. So you have to look at the date here, come down, look at the date here, and then go back to the dashboard and come back to the bar chart and move your cursor, and gives you everything on a daily or a weekly or a monthly basis.
Yeah, I guess, but does that combine her whole team together though? Or is that going to be each person individually?
It'll give so right now we've designed such a way that it gives on a date basis. If you want, we could change it for a team or.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be helpful to, like, if you think about it, right? So below Nancy, or we'll just say if it's not Nancy, if it's another company, there will be people below that. Like there's set, going down the organization, so that as in my case, I could click on me and say, where is Nancy's team all the way down the line? And the combined is, hey, they're 90% on track. Yeah.
Well, what we can do is on this page, Will, like very similar to the dashboard option where you have the pie chart. So this gives you on track, off track for the entire organization. So what we can do is in the reporting tab for each of the teams. So for example, let's say we choose Kathy, and the entire Kathy's team. Like you want to see the progress, we could add like
yes.
pie chart here, on track and off track.
Because that's important. Because look, the way I'm looking at it, and then that should roll up for the organization's goals. So like for the quarter, I'm going to say this is what we're trying to do, and I'm going to divide that up. We give Mike his, Nancy hers, Kathy hers, Cindy's hers, right? We say that, and then down below that, right? Then anyone who we'll use Nancy. So Ronnie's reporting to Nancy, and then Ronnie would flow up to her, and then if Joe is reporting to Ronnie, when I look at Ronnie's, it will report up to Joe's, will report up to Ronnie. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to go into Joe's, or however the managers have to go all the way down. They can look at one big picture that rolls it up all the way down. That's the important part.
Got it. Yep. I'll note that down.
Okay.
So with that, I've covered pretty much most of the functionalities here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, email me. I know it's a new system, so you might have a lot of questions, but don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any queries.
So I just want to reinforce the
Can I ask a
purpose.
couple questions?
Yep. And
Sure,
can
go
I,
ahead.
Kathy?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I just wanted to wait to the end on these because I didn't know if you'd answer some of them. So just to quickly recap, the goals are entered by whom? Just to make sure we're clear on who's entering the goals when we have the updated goals for Q4, but who's entering the goals? It's the manager.
The goals are added by each reportee, Kathy. The manager won't be involved in that entire process. Everything is done by the employee themselves. The only thing the supervisor and the manager does is log in and look at the progress. That's it.
Okay, so everyone's entering their own goals, their own tactics or specific action steps, and rating themselves weekly. Okay.
Correct. Everybody does for themselves.
Okay, just want to make sure that was clear. Time frame for goals. I know you went through the goals there. The example, you had a 6-week time frame. A goal could be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or the full quarter, right? It doesn't have to be.
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure it's not like, you have to put in a certain number of weeks of goals because every goal is going to be different. And then
No. So since we have an open calendar, so you can choose the length of your project as you please.
That's what I thought, but just wanted to make sure. And I guess to Bill, we're now at almost October 1st, Q4 goals for us. Should we go in and just test this using the Q3 goals everyone has? Just to use it as a test? How do you want us to proceed? Because not everyone.
So I'm working on the goals right now that we could put in for the last quarter. So that's kind of, we could put that in. So that's going to be coming up here soon. So, so it'll be for the Q4. And everyone should have that. And how the process should work is, I'm going to sit down with each of, my direct reports saying, look, this is our goal for the quarter. And then we're going to work together, each of us, to say, what are the goals that your team's going to do? And then you'll work with each of your direct reports and saying, this is what we're going to do. And then they'll work with their reports and say, this is what they're going to do. And that the sum of all those things should equal up the company's goals. So, the way I look at it is, on your example, Kathy, that, you'll have the goals that you're going to be physically doing yourself, and then you're going to have goals that you have people on your team doing those goals. So that when I look at the overall of our team at any time, it's going to tell me where we're at in the process and if we're on track or not on track. And then say you're off track for some reason, then I can drill into you and click on it and say, well, what's going on? And it's, hey, do you need resources, or what's going on? And I can say, well, whatever it may be. So it's the whole idea is that everyone on the team kind of knows what they're doing as part of the mission to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep.
One more thing I wanted to add is for all the managers and supervisors, when you guys log in, the best way to track the weekly projects of your reportees is you log in and you click goals, and then you see the tracker says not started. So once they start, it'll say off track or on track, and this is the best way to basically track their projects. And to look at their tactics, there's an option here. There's a pop-up. This is a pop-up option. So you click on view tactics. It breaks down the tactics for the project. So I'm just going to go to the project I added on this deck. No, sorry. When I go and then I click on view tactics, you see the tactics come up. And then since I said I've done 25% of the first week, it says on track, it's in green color. that means I'm on track for the first week. So on a weekly basis, you will get to know who's off track and who's on track. All right, Bill, any last thoughts, or are we good?
I think we're good. If anyone has any questions, and when you're going through it, if you see anything that is glitchy or doesn't seem to be easy to use, please let us know, and so we can make any changes, because we demoed it and we went through it, but we're just trying to, get all the glitches out.
Yep. You also have access to everybody's information, so everybody's employee information. So all the managers, the admins. So in this case, in our organization, have all the managers set up, all the employees set up. So just in case you want to access somebody's information, so you can also come here. All right. Thank you. I'm going to send a follow-up email. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to send the next 30 minutes. I'm going to send all the details, your login details, the breakdown of everything that I've shown on the demo. And if you have any questions, give me a call. I'm available through the day, and we'll take it forward from them. And that's
Thank you.
Thank you, Ani.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ani.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Ani.
Bye-bye.